Bondi Beach attack. A week ago, 15 people were killed at what should have been a Hanukkah celebration. Amid the grief, there was also anger.
The Prime Minister of Australia, Anthony Albanese.
The Prime Minister accused of failing to tackle anti-Semitism, also tonight. The government promises to ban trail hunting, saying it's been used as a legal loophole. And
there's the X, and there is the ashes retained.
Banning humiliation and questions for England after one of the quickest Ashes defeats in history.
This is ITV News with Yasmin Bodalbhai.
Good evening. Exactly a week on from the brutal sound of gunfire on Bondi Beach, silence fell today. Mourners gathered to remember the 15 people killed at the Hanukkah festival. Australia's Prime Minister Anthony Albanese was booed as he arrived, blamed by some for not doing enough to prevent the anti-Semitic attack. Bondi Beach reports.
This was the day Australia came together in mourning. Speeches, music, and a 1-minute silence near Bondi Beach, a week since 15 people were shot and killed while celebrating Hanukkah. Among the speakers was 14-year-old Haya Darden, shot while shielding 2 children from the attackers.
I felt so connected to them the whole time, and that's the thing about the Jewish people, like, I saw those kids and they were mine, they were my kids, and I knew whatever I was going to do, I was going to do it for them.
But amid the grief, there is anger too.
The Prime Minister of Australia, Anthony Albanese.
Mr. Albanese didn't speak at the vigil, but when he arrived, he was greeted with a chorus of boos. Earlier, he announced a major review of the country's security agencies. The former intelligence chief will examine if law enforcement and intelligence services have the right tools to keep people safe. But some want him to go further and launch a federal royal commission, which would give investigators wider powers. One suspect was killed at the scene last Sunday. His son, Naveed Akram, has been charged with 59 offences, including 15 counts of murder. Waltzing Matilda is often described as Australia's unofficial national anthem, but today it was sung in honour of the youngest victim of the attack, Matilda, who was just 10 years old when she died. The people of Sydney coming together in their grief to greet horror with humanity. Papadopoulos, ITV News.
There are reports this evening that the US has intercepted a third vessel off the coast of Venezuela. It comes after video footage yesterday showed an oil tanker being seized in an operation confirmed by the Department of Homeland Security. Our political correspondent Carl Dinnan is here, and Carl, this sounds like it's starting to get serious.
Yeah, the United States is certainly very serious about enforcing this blockade. Now, details are very scant about this apparent third seizure, but we know that the second one that happened yesterday morning, and for which we have some video, was of a vessel that was not actually on the sanctioned list, albeit it was carrying sanctioned oil, or believed to have been carrying sanctioned oil. But because it wasn't on the list, that is a new departure and an escalation of sorts. The reason Donald Trump is doing this, well, the reasons are varied. He does talk about Venezuela being involved in narco-terrorism, but he does also talk about recovering US oil investments that were lost when the Venezuelan oil industry was nationalized. The Venezuelans, for their part, are calling this piracy, and they see it as a prelude to regime change. There has certainly been a significant military build-up in the Caribbean, but the regime still has other sources of income.
Okay, Carl, interesting, thank you. A manhunt is underway in South Africa after at least 9 people were shot dead near Johannesburg. Police say around 12 unidentified gunmen opened fire at a tavern in the Beckersdale township. 10 others were wounded in what is the second mass shooting in the country this month. The Electoral Commission says it will not investigate Nigel Farage's general election spending after accusations the Reform UK leader had broken the law. A spokesperson for the party called it a politically motivated complaint that has been decisively dismissed. A ban on trail hunting is among the measures being put forward tomorrow as part of the government's animal welfare strategy. While bans on puppy farms and electric shock collars for pets will be largely popular, it's the tightening up of rules on hunting that could prove more controversial. Sharonpreet Kaura has more.
This might look like a fox hunt, but there's no fox. It's a trail hunt where hounds follow a scent instead of a live animal. Typically, a rag soaked in animal scent is dragged through fields and woods, laying a path for hounds to chase, mimicking the thrill of a traditional hunt. Since fox hunting was banned more than 2 decades ago, trail hunting has become the new Boxing Day tradition across the countryside. But tomorrow, the government is expected to outlaw the practice as part of its new animal welfare strategy. Critics say it can still be cruel to wildlife that cross the hound's path and argue that trail hunting is sometimes used as a cover for real fox hunting.
Hunts are determined to get around the law, so they've invented this sport called trail hunting, but it's just a smokescreen to cover up illegal hunting, and the time's come to end it once and for all.
The League Against Cruel Sports reports that this autumn alone, more than 100 foxes were chased, and there were more than 300 reports of antisocial behaviour linked to the hunts. Banning it was a pledge in Labour's manifesto, but supporters say they fail to understand rural traditions.
They're conducting a lawful activity, they're following a smelly rag across the countryside, getting plenty of fresh air, and it's good for their physical and mental health. It is not a priority to ban a lawful activity.
The ban won't come into effect in time to stop this year's Boxing Day hunts. The hounds will still run next week, but next year the tradition could be left in the past. Sharonpreet Kaura, ITV News.
The post-mortem is underway following England's Ashes surrender. They did at least put up a bit of a fight before losing the third test by 82 runs, but it won't stop questions being asked about the future of the head coach or the captain, as Chris Scudder reports.
There's the edge, and there is the Ashes retained.
So the post-mortem begins. Defeat inside 11 days leaves England facing the prospect of another Ashes whitewash and an appalling record down under. In the last 18 tests in Australia, England have lost 16 and not won a single one.
It's obviously incredibly disappointing. We've had moments where we've been, very good, but Australia have been a lot better than us on, over a much longer period of time in the series so far.
At least they went down fighting in Adelaide. Jamie Smith's innings of 60 was the kind of baseball aggression which has brought success in recent years.
He's got again.
But it also cost him his wicket. So could it be time to drop the cavalier approach?
What did we get right? What did we get wrong? Probably go back to the preparation as well. I know that that'll be something that's questioned, and when you've lost 3-0, you've got to put your hand up and say, maybe I didn't get that preparation right.
With the Melbourne Test days away, Aussie cynics might even crow that beating the Poms is as much a Boxing Day mismatch as Anthony Joshua knocking out Jake Paul, and that hurts. England will know it's time to regain some lost pride. Chris Scudder, ITV News.
Finally, they travelled from far and wide to be there, and this morning around 8,000 people were at Stonehenge to watch the sunrise on the shortest day of the year. The sun emerged just after 8 a.m. From now on, the days will start to get longer and we'll get more daylight. Thank goodness for that. That's all from us for now. We're back with the late news at 10 to 10. Have a lovely evening.